Everyone in the Grand Crystal Ballroom of the Plaza Hotel in New York was laughing. Hundreds of wealthy guests dressed in glittering designer suits and gowns filled the hall. Champagne glasses sparkled under golden chandeliers. A famous band played softly on the stage. It was supposed to be the most luxurious wedding of the year. But in the center of that glamorous hall stood a young woman whose eyes were filled with silent pain. Just minutes earlier, the groom's powerful family had humiliated her in front of everyone. They called her poor. They called her an embarrassment. They said she did not belong among them. The guests laughed and whispered as if she were nothing more than a mistake in their perfect celebration. But none of them knew the truth. None of them knew that the quiet American girl they were mocking had a secret powerful enough to change everything in the next few minutes. Her name was Ava Mitchell. Ava grew up in a small town in Ohio. Her life had never been easy. When she was 10 years old, her father died in a factory accident and her mother struggled to raise her while working 2 jobs. Their small house had old wooden floors and cracked paint, but it was filled with love. Ava learned very early that the world respected money more than kindness. Kids at school often mocked her old clothes and simple lunches, but Ava never complained. Instead, she studied harder than anyone else. She believed that one day her life would change. Years later, Ava moved to New York City to chase her dreams. She worked as a waitress during the day and studied business at night. Life in New York was brutal. Rent was high and the city moved fast. Some nights Ava returned to her tiny apartment exhausted and wondered if she would ever escape the life she was living. But she never gave up. One evening, everything changed. Ava was working at an upscale Manhattan restaurant when a young man walked in with a group of friends. He was confident, charming, and dressed in an expensive suit. His name was Ethan Carter. Ethan came from one of the wealthiest families in New York. His father owned a powerful real estate empire and his family moved among billionaires and politicians. When Ethan noticed Ava, something about her quiet strength caught his attention. She did not act impressed by his wealth. She simply did her job with dignity. Over the next few weeks, Ethan kept returning to the restaurant just to see her. Eventually, he asked her out. At first, Ava refused. She knew men like Ethan came from a world that would never accept someone like her. But Ethan was persistent. He admired her intelligence and honesty. Slowly, Ava allowed him into her life. Their relationship grew deeper with every passing month. But there was one problem. Ethan's family hated her. The Carter family believed Ava was a gold digger. To them, she was just a poor waitress trying to climb into their powerful dynasty. Ethan's mother especially despised her. She constantly reminded Ethan that their family reputation was worth billions and that marrying a poor girl would embarrass them in elite society. But Ethan loved Ava and refused to abandon her. After 3 years together, he proposed. Despite the tension with his family, the wedding planning began. The ceremony would be held in the luxurious Plaza Hotel ballroom with over 400 elite guests attending. Ava felt nervous, but she believed that once the wedding happened, Ethan's family might finally accept her. She was wrong. On the wedding day, the hall glittered like a palace. Wealthy guests from across the country arrived in limousines. Cameras flashed. Famous business leaders and celebrities filled the seats. Ava walked into the bridal preparation room wearing a simple but elegant white dress. She looked beautiful, but she felt the cold judgment in the room. Ethan's mother entered with several relatives. Her expression was icy. She looked Ava up and down and laughed softly. "So this is the girl who trapped my son." The other women smirked. Ava stayed silent. But the insults did not stop. Later during the reception, Ethan's father stood up to give a speech. The hall grew quiet as the powerful billionaire took the microphone. He smiled politely, but his words carried hidden cruelty. "Tonight our family welcomes someone very different from our world. A girl who grew up with humble circumstances." Guests chuckled quietly. He continued. "Sometimes people forget their place when they see wealth." More laughter echoed across the hall. Ava felt every eye staring at her. Then Ethan's mother stepped forward and spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. "A waitress becoming part of the Carter family. That must be the greatest promotion in American history." The hall erupted in laughter. Ava's face turned pale. Her hands trembled, but she did not cry. Ethan looked furious, but before he could speak, Ava gently touched his arm. Let them finish. The guests continued whispering and mocking her. Some even recorded the moment on their phones. Then Ava slowly stood up. The room fell silent. She walked calmly toward the stage. Her white dress shimmered under the chandelier lights. When she reached the microphone, the laughter faded. Her voice was calm but powerful. You're right about one thing. I did grow up poor. The crowd listened. My mother worked 16 hours a day to feed me. I wore second-hand clothes and studied under a broken lamp. I worked as a waitress while going to business school. She paused. But what you don't know is what happened after that. A large screen behind the stage suddenly lit up. Ava pressed a small remote in her hand. The screen displayed the logo of a massive tech company. Gasps spread through the hall. Ava continued. 3 years ago, I created a financial technology startup with 2 classmates. Last month, that company was acquired for $400 million. The room froze. Guests stared at the screen in disbelief. Ava looked directly at Ethan's parents. And as the majority founder, I am now the CEO. Whispers exploded across the ballroom. Some guests began checking their phones and quickly realized it was true. News articles about Ava's company filled the internet. Ava spoke again. I never told Ethan because I wanted to be loved for who I am, not for money. Then she delivered the final line. But tonight you showed everyone what kind of family you are. The entire hall fell into stunned silence. The same people who had laughed moments earlier now looked embarrassed and shocked. Ethan's father stood speechless. His mother's face turned pale. Ava gently placed the microphone down. Ethan walked to her side and held her hand proudly. For the first time that night, the guests began clapping. The applause grew louder and louder until the entire ballroom echoed with it. The humiliation had completely reversed. The poor girl they mocked had just proven she was more powerful than all of them. And in that moment, the Carter family realized something they would never forget. Respect cannot be bought with money. But arrogance can destroy everything in seconds.